Hi. It's morning. Get my coffee. Oh, what is in my coffee? There's like... I'm still gonna drink it. There might be something in there. But it's coffee, right? How do you get rid of a coffee? 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Thursday, April 16th, 2020. My name's Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. It tastes weak. It's amazing how the same process every day can yield such different results. I don't know. Well, how was your Wednesday? I had a pretty good Wednesday. Got work done. Did a little bit of exercise. Remembered that I had a bicycle. I know that sounds silly. Like, it's not like I forgot that I had a bicycle, but just realized, wait a second. If you could put air in those tires, that gives you something else you can do. You can go ride your bike. And I did. So I put air in the tires. I took a quick ride because what I'm not sure of is how well those tires are going to hold air at this point. So I just did a quick, half mile out and back, and put it back in the garage, and we'll see what the pressure in the tires is today. And if it's decent, and maybe this is what we do periodically as we go for a bike ride. Because I need something to mix up running and walking. What else did I do? I think I mentioned to you guys before that I have some maple trees on my property, and I tapped them and had some maple sap. Still have some in the fridge. Well, I also have birch trees, and you might not know, but you can tap birch trees. And so I've got 3 buckets out right now, and 2 of them, as soon as I drilled in, it was quite a bit. I think I pulled close to a quart in maybe 4 hours, probably closer to 3. Only one of the trees is really big enough. The other 2, they're a little bit on the small side, so I had to be careful I didn't drill in too deep because you don't want to hit the inside, the heartwood of the tree, because then it dies. That's not good. But even a shallow hole yielded sap, and it's good. Not a particularly strong flavor when it's just the sap, but you can taste a little bit of it. Am I going to boil it? Probably not. It's a lot of work. I might, but I doubt it. So we'll see. What else did I do? You might notice there's better lighting in here. I changed the light bulbs in here. I had these fancy light bulbs that connected to Wi-Fi, and you could change the color, and they kept losing the connection to Wi-Fi, and it was a pain in the butt to reset them. So I said, done with those, and put in some different bulbs. What else? Email. Working more on ads. Really trying to, if you spend any time on Facebook, you've probably seen the ads for Martial Artist Handbook and for the Strength and Conditioning Program. We've got ads running, and they're starting to work. Selling a Strength and Conditioning Program, like 1 or 2 a day now. Yay! Completely solves all of my financial problems at $20 a pop. Not even close, but it helps. Should be making an upgrade to that program. I think it's next week that's scheduled, that we release the new version and the price goes up $1 or $2. I think it's going to go up. I think it's $2. I think it's scheduled for $21.99. So if you've been waiting and you don't want to spend another $2, go grab that. Because remember, you get lifetime updates. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, new episode of Schwartz Radio is out. This is a rebroadcast of the super podcast with Senseis Jared and Ando. Just audio form. If you want the video, it's all over the place. But if you we try to make sure that everything we do makes it into the podcast feed. And so that's where it got slotted. You probably saw something in your podcast feed about episode 500 and our requests for your videos. Please help us with that. Got verbal confirmation from arguably our biggest guest ever that they would be participating. So look, this video project is going to be fun. It should become big. People are going to watch it. You have an opportunity to tell the world what you think. What would you tell martial artists 100 years from now? If you want details on that, go to either website and you'll see there's something in the blog on whistlekick.com, and there's a bonus episode of Martial Arts Radio and a link to the blog, and it's all there. You should be able to find it, and we'll start promoting that on social media very, very soon. What's going on today? Well, there's frost and snow on the ground again. Yay. Yay. Call with a client. Probably a Zoom call with a client. Recording another fight scene with Josh Blum tonight. And then after that, we've got a seminar, Magic of Slow. And I just posted something in the Facebook event reminding people to check there. I would post the information that we're going to use. So, yeah, I'm excited. I have to plan for that. I've got the framework in my head, but I've got to write it down. I've got to move things around. I'll probably move the couch. A couple things I'll move in here, just make sure there's enough space. I want people to feel like this is a whole thing. And I'm going to film it, and I'm going to post it on YouTube. 30 minutes of drills. So, Stacy says she can't wait. Well, good. Thank you. I'm excited. There's a very narrow set of stuff that I know that I can teach that applies to everyone. And I'm not going to teach stuff that doesn't. I'm not going to take people through drills that say, this is how you spar. Well, different people spar differently, and different rule sets and everything. So, Gabe asks when growing season starts. Historically, most of us don't put things out until Labor Day. I have stuff on my calendar, my growing calendar, that doesn't get put out until mid-June. Yeah, because it needs to be that warm out. It's rare that we get freezing into May, but it is, it's not uncommon that we're going to see temperatures, in the mid to upper 30s into May, especially overnight. And Memorial Day. I always get Memorial Day and Labor Day mixed up. Stacy says don't put the little ones out until Memorial Day. Yeah, that's the rule of thumb that people use, but depends on what it is. Some stuff can handle going outside sooner, like kale. Kale can handle it, and of course, more established plants can handle it a little bit better. There's all kinds of things. We've got a short growing season here, and so there are lots of strategies people use to extend that. I really want a greenhouse. If you came to my house right now and saw everything that's going on, you would say, why don't you have a greenhouse? And I'm hoping to build one at some point because I like plants. Anything else going on today? No, that's it. That's a lot. It's a lot to do. So let's look at these. Let's look at these questions, these comments, these things that you all write in. Remember, if you want me to respond to something, just drop it below. I'll respond tomorrow. We got some stuff from Stacy today. Everything that slows us down and forces patience, everything that sets us back into the slow circles of nature is a help. Gardening is an instrument of grace. May Sarton. Are the martial arts not just graceful, but also moments of personal grace? They can be. I think, so you've likely heard me talk about my feelings that martial arts having some core piece from inside of you being really important. And this is one of those ways. If you've ever seen someone, you've likely seen a contrast between people who do forms and really put a lot of themselves into it, and it's beautiful, and people who walk through the movements, and you're just waiting for them to finish. That's an example of where grace could be coming through. Grace, I'm trying to define it, and I don't know that I can. I'm going to have to think about that. But I assume we all know what I mean when I say grace. I don't mean grace over food. Yeah, I've never had to define it before. I have a feeling, I know what that feeling is like when I think of it. It's light, it's open, it's trusting. It's immersive. And I think you can bring that into martial arts, and I think you should aspire to do so. The art portion of martial arts continues to get ignored, and it blows my mind why so many people focus on the martial. We had a social media post go up, I think it was yesterday, and it's a quote that we've put up several times from Georges St. Pierre, talking about the difference between a martial artist and a fighter. And we had several people respond, no, I don't disagree, I disagree, they're the same thing. They're not the same thing. All fighters are not martial artists. All martial artists are not fighters. I'm a martial artist. I'm not a fighter. Never claimed to be. Don't want to be. It's not why I train. And there are plenty of fighters who don't train. They just fight. So Stacy's question here about moments of personal grace. Are the martial arts not just graceful, but also moments of personal grace? They can be. And it can happen, it's happened for me at various times. You know, it's happened in class, it's happened training on my own, it's happened in competition. And it's about removing barriers. It's about vulnerability. Are you willing to expose your soul through your training and let other people see it? If you've ever trained and opened up and felt emotion come through, not as a result that, you know, somebody kicks you harder than you want them to and you get angry, but you start to feel sad or joyful, or tears are coming, or maybe you're angry, but there isn't a strong reason. That's the kind of grace that I'm thinking of. It's an exposure of your soul through your training, and it doesn't happen often, and I would say statistically few people get to that point. But it can be cathartic. It's worth striving for. I think we'll put it that way. A student said to his master, "You teach me fighting, but you talk about peace. How do you reconcile the two?" The master replied, "It is better to be a warrior in the garden than to be a gardener in a war." Unknown. This quote is important. It's critical. It is. Please permit me to remove politics from this statement. It is the reason that I choose to own guns, because of where I am. I am out in the woods. I have bears in my driveway. I would much rather have them and never need them, and I've never needed them, than to need them and never have them. Another way of saying this is you can be underprepared or you can be over-prepared. You'll never be perfectly prepared. I will always choose to be over-prepared in food, in what's in my pack when I go out into the woods for a hike, in the way that I run my businesses and live my life. I try to be as prepared as possible. We train for life, and part of life is how we respond to a violent altercation, if need be. I think most importantly, we train to avoid it. If you only ever learn how to win a fight, but never how to avoid a fight, you're going to be in a lot of fights. I would much rather learn how to avoid the fight entirely. It wouldn't be a terribly compelling seminar, so I'm not going to do one on that. But I think it's the most important part of self-defense. How do you avoid a fight? Most people aren't willing to teach that because they don't know. They think it's simple. It's not simple. Avoiding a fight is actually very complex because the reasons that fights arise are complex. Because people are involved and people are complex. But just because we train hard and we learn how to defend ourselves doesn't mean that's the only value. It's not insurance, right? Insurance is worthless unless you need it, right? Nobody ever said, I'm really happy I have this car insurance. I've never gotten in a car accident, but it served me so well. It's not how that works. Martial arts is not insurance. Martial arts is perspective and lifestyle and physical training. It's so many other things. And we embrace that because it makes our lives better. It makes us better. So you can become the warrior and the gardener. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. But if you have to choose, be a warrior in the garden. Did you know that in Okinawan Karate, they used the garden hoe as a weapon called the kua? It was because farmers were forbidden to own weapons. Yes, and I've actually seen someone perform a kata with a hoe at a tournament. I've seen that several times. In fact, I've seen Kyoshi Brent Baker do that. Somebody who I've wanted to have on the show, and it just hasn't happened. Nice guy. Most Okinawan weapons arose from farm implements. Nunchaku were used to thresh grain. Kama were used to cut. It's basically a big knife. If you look, you'll see that they're pretty much all from farm implements. And cool. And I'm not going to share the video somebody just sent me because there might be a bigger purpose behind it. But I just received a video, and I watched it this morning, of a couple people using common household implements as weapons. And if you've never done that, if you've never picked up, this is the closest thing. How would I use this Bluetooth speaker as a weapon? I could use it to extend range. I could use it to club. I could throw it. Maybe not the best weapon, but I'd rather have that than nothing. And if you go out into your tool shed and pick up a rake and maybe a shovel and start playing around with those and how you would use those as weapons, I think it can really enhance your understanding of not just other more traditional martial arts weapons, but empty hand training, and it can be a heck of a lot of fun. That creativity. I've toyed with the idea of bringing a garden rake to a tournament and competing, just to mess with everybody's head, but at the same time to show that martial arts weapons can evolve. The principles that you apply to using a bow or to using a garden hoe can be applied equally to a rake or a shovel or, I don't know, a couple pairs of pruners. Hold on, squeeze them. Why not? Right? I like weapons. One of the things I had to do for my black belt, my first black belt test, was I was given half a dozen weapons that I had never seen before. And I was asked to use each one for several minutes, kind of free flow, shadow box sort of thing. And it was interesting. I don't remember. It's so long ago. I don't remember what they were. But it was fun. I see people training in new and different weapons. Like a lot of the Chinese weapons, I've used very few of them. And it seems great. I'd love to do that. So if you've got some time on your hands, go grab a shovel and head outside and see what you can do with it. Stacy says, today's episode was brought to you by the joy of digging in the dirt. Thank you, Stacy. That's great. I figured there was a theme going there. It seemed to be. All right. Now, go check out that episode with Sensei Zando and Jared. Make sure you sign up for and come to the Magic of Slow this evening. Leave me some questions, some comments for tomorrow. I'll respond. Tomorrow's Friday. And I hope you have a great day. I'm going to go get ready for mine and hope to see you all back here tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Peace.